Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. This is just a short little video to a response to Vinyl Dale, as I know him as Simon's 20 questions. I've had to really think deep about some of these. So here we go. This is my responses. So question 1 was, how would you describe your collection in 2 words? So I've gone for varied genres, because it is. I've got everything from ABBA to Metallica to Tchaikovsky, so it's very, very, very varied. Apart from question 2 was, apart from vinyl, what else do you collect? Now, up until 2 years ago, I would have said CDs, vinyl, but I moved and I downsized, and unfortunately had to get rid of CDs, so I've cut all my albums still, but most of my stuff now is on iPods, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So question 3 was, what inspired you, which chap inspired you to make your own YouTube videos? And for me, it was during lockdown. I watched a lot of Pete Pardo, who does Sea of Tranquility, and that sort of was my inspiration. Question 4, to monitorize or not. Now, I'm in that position where I'm just over 950 subs now, and I'll be eligible for monetization at 1,000 like you are. I don't know. I mean, see how it goes. I'm not expecting to make billions, but you know, a few extra coppers here and there is not going to go missed. So I'll see how it goes. I'm very open to that at the moment. Let's have a look. Question 5, subscribers or views? For me, it's more important to get your views in on what your content is, because from them views you get your subscribers. That's just my personal opinion. You know, get your views up, and from that you are going to get results. It's like in anything, isn't it? You know, put the work in, get the views, and people will join. Very simple. The next question is, do you prefer analog or digital? Okay, I've got both, and it all depends. Now, there's some stuff that sounds great as analog, especially some of the rock albums that are raw and crisp, but there are some stuff digitally that sounds good. Now, there was a lot of albums in the 80s that had got that 80s production, but when they've been digitally remastered, they've cleaned all that away and you get a better sound. So I'm sitting on the fence. I think sometimes digital sounds better though. So yes. So question 7, do you think there's too much Beatles within the VC? I think there is. I love the Beatles. I was brought up on the Beatles, but there's more to music than the Beatles. It's simple as that. If you're just going to concentrate on the Beatles, you've sort of narrowed it down. I mean, yes, I've done Beatles stuff on my channel, of course I have, but I can't. How many copies of a certain album do you need? Do you need the mono? Do you need the stereo? I don't know what the Friends is about, to be quite honest. There is too much Beatles. Okay, next question. Do you think live streams benefit the VC? Yes and no. Depends how you approach your live streams. Personally, I like my live streams to be friends sitting up round a pub with a glass of beer talking music. personally, I can't see the point of some of the live stream auctions, because that's a good idea, but some people don't. It's too disjointed. And then you get some live streams that get a bit political, and it's all about the music for me. So there are ups and downs to live streams, but if you keep it simple, keep it a good flow, they do benefit you, because people will come in and then they'll find out a bit about you and your channel, and it also sees what sort of person you are. Okay, next one. Compilation albums are frowned upon in the VC community. I like compilation albums, either of mixed artists, which are great when you know, I like listening to them when I'm doing stuff, just bung on the CD or whatever and just let it go. You know, it's got all sorts of music. But also that you've got the greatest hits albums. I think they're very important, because there are certain bands that I like that a greatest hits album is all I need from that band. So that's that one. What have we got next? Do you think shorts, basically about what do I think of shorts and what do they offer? Shorts are fun. My shorts, if we could talk about my personal shorts, I just put an album and put a little snippet of each track from each album, and I rank the tracks. I've only been doing them since March, and they do bring in views and subs. It just gives you another little string in your feather or your bow to get people interested in your channel. Okay, what are my pet peeves in the VC? Oh, I've got a few. Shouting, coming on, going, wow! Nah, that's not the thing. And swearing. I swear like a trooper, but there's a time and a place. I don't like over use of swearing. You don't need to. If you're describing something, there are other words you can use to describe things. So the only time you hear me sort of swearing is using bad language, is if it's in the title of a track or an album. And what else? I can't even read my notes here. I don't like when things go political. I don't like political things that don't go together. Music and politics, and religion and music. You know, you can't put things they tell you not to talk about. Politics and religion. Simple as. Okay, next question was, do I prefer English or American? Now, I like American music. There's some great music from America, but there's also a lot of good music from British. So I'm British, so I'm going to go with British, because a lot, when I've put together a list of bands, most of them are British, so it's British bands for me. Okay, question: are you a completist or a bits and bobs? I'm afraid I'm a completist. Most of my collection are complete discographies of bands. Although I have got bits and bobs by other bands, like I haven't got the whole of the U2 stuff, because after Acton Baby I'm not interested. So I've got one or two collections where I've only got bits and bobs, but I'd say 99.9% of my music is completist. That's how sad I am. Question for 15. This is about your collection. My notes are terrible. Do I move it around? I used to, because I had CDs and I had to keep moving it to create space and all that sort of thing. But now I don't. But what I do too, I've got all my stuff on an iTunes library, and what I do, I try and sort of I'm gradually sort of putting it into genres and etc. So that takes time. You know, I've got a lot of stuff on my iTunes library, so it's a case of just making it easier for me to find stuff. Question 16. Are you a ranker? Yeah, I am. I do put albums up against each other, but I try and do it differently from what everybody else does, because if you all do the same thing, you're not going to get things. So that's why when I do ranking the albums, I go through each track on the album, and that's how I find which album goes in what place. People, I know there's people out there that don't do it, but I enjoy doing that sort of thing. Are you interested in audio files and sound quality, or do you like just the music? I just like the music. There are certain albums that have been remixed that sound better than when they've come out, but on the whole, I don't care if it's this sound gravel mix polished on with a vacuum cleaner. If it sounds good, that's all that matters to me. This question 18 now. This was my values, you know, on the VC. This was tough. I had to really think about this, believe it or not. So I've gone with honest. Be honest what you're talking about. Show empathy. Show some integrity. I always think when you're presenting, be professional. Even though we're not professionals, do a professional presentation and respect other people's views. It's very simple, you know. That's what music's good. It's a good talking point. And there's a lot of people say we all hear things differently, so no one's right or no one's wrong, but respect people that don't, because you get people that, when, you know, if I rank people's albums and they go, I put their best at the bottom, they throw a hissy fit, throw their toys out the pram. No need for that. We all hear things differently. Number 19. How well do I know my collection? I know it very well. I mean, I know it better now. I mean, because most of it is on a file. But when I had my CDs, I had over 1,500 CDs. I've got over 1,000 albums, which I've still got, but I've got 4 iPods full of my collection. That's how big it was, and I only got rid of my CDs because I had to downsize, and I just had no room for them. It was a very hard decision, but something had to go. It was the CDs. And the last question: what would you consider yourself? I am a creator. I think I'm not a collector. You know, I create videos of different things. That's why, you know, if you look in my schedule, it's not all the same. I can't keep to a schedule and every week, but it just makes life easier. I like doing it like that. I don't want to just do all album ranking. I like to vary it, and then within that variations, I do variations to keep it all relevant. Okay, well, I hope that's sort of sorted out what Dale wanted. I must learn to write, though. It always starts off neat and goes all squiggly. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching.